Hi, everyone. Coach DeMarco here with another episode of Get Better Basketball Live. Today, my guest is Coach Adam DeBaggis from Bishop Fenwick High School in Massachusetts. Coach DeBaggis is one of the most successful coaches over the last 10 years in the state of Massachusetts. He won the North Championship in both 2016 and 2018, multiple North Finals appearances, and a state championship in 2016. Each and every year, his team is one of the top competitors in the state, and that's why I'm so excited to have him join us today. Another Get Better Basketball Live is up now. We do see a lot of zone defenses. It's been a couple years for me since I've coached, but we definitely saw some zone defense, and I know that's something that you guys do really well as a program. So what is it that you are teaching your players that helps them to be so successful against the zone defenses that you see?
One of the biggest things, you have to have unselfish players that understand that it's 5 people that need to beat this. For receivers, I think small movements, getting in windows is huge, as opposed to big movements like cutting. As I said to you before, like I always hear, it's like the middle school coach dad in the crowd is always yelling something like cut or follow your shot. Instead of against the zone, you need small movements. Make sure you're in windows if you're a receiver. And the windows are always moving. So we teach those, like against the zone, as the ball moves, the window moves. So some kids are so much better than that than others. It's like
you mentioned football, coach, and that's a great example. I was a receiver, so we were always trying to sit in those windows against zone defense in football, and that's a great comparison with basketball there. So
analogy I use all the time. Fakes and the use of your eyes are huge. I played point guard, so I was a very average basketball player, but one thing I was always good at was using my eyes, deceiving the defense with my eyes. So that's huge. We've been lucky enough to have very good point guards and very good guards, so obviously that matters a lot. Your skills have to be so good, especially the little things like being able to dribble left, pass left, use both pivot feet if you're a 5 or a 4. With the 5 and the 4, the 4, I'm just talking now about a 1-3-1 offense against a 2-3. A 4 is baseline. Normally a 5 might be triangle on the top of the key and stuff like that. Those girls have to be really good at moving in small spaces, being sneaky. They're the ones who really have to work on being in little windows, make bounce passes. One thing I would say to coaches, though, that I think anyway, moving around your personnel against the zone can be a game changer, a literal game changer. There's been games where this goes for everyone, where you're just stalling on offense, especially against the zone. Obviously, teams are playing a zone because they're trying to slow you down. They're trying to make you shoot. Offenses get stale. You might not score in high school girls basketball. You might not score for an entire quarter. And then you're thinking to yourself, what are we going to do? Do we have to change the offense? Do we got to do this? And sometimes changing your personnel, and that doesn't mean pulling someone off the bench. It could mean taking a guard and putting her baseline, or I've taken guards and put them at the top of the key because they're the best passer we have. And then all of a sudden, boom, you hit that girl. She hits bounce pass on the baseline for a layup. So I think having the kids with the best skills against the zone is huge. Having a great passing team is obviously huge. Fakes are huge. You cannot just stare. We used to call it telegraphing back in the day. Kids don't know what telegraphing is anymore, so you have to use, some sort of, they texting their passes to other players, but you can't do that against a zone, because if you're a coach, how you teach is that we play a decent amount of zone defense ourselves, and we teach get your hands and your eyes on the ball. So what's the other team doing? They're trying to get their hands and their eyes on the ball. So you've got to have fakes, and sometimes that's just using your body, misdirection, and go the other way with the ball, which, I'll actually show you a little bit of that. But, we have some good clips with just ball movement. There's some good stuff that I'll show you with just slashing to the hoop. Guards got to get in those seams with the ball and then kick out. Some kids are better than that than others. Receivers need to know where they're going with the ball before they catch. Personally, it's too late after you catch. It's got to be right out of my hand because that's where the points are. A lot of
one or 2 seconds makes a huge difference, and zone defenses thrive on that. You hesitate, then you make the pass late. They get their hand up, and they're going the other way. It's interesting because you mentioned sort of different perspectives and things you might hear from people on zone and making cutters and different things like that. And you talk to a lot of coaches about zone offense, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, we run this or we run that." And what I really appreciate about what you're saying is you're focused on the really details, the really small details first, making that quick little ball fake, knowing where that next pass is going to go, using your personnel in different positions. And I think that makes such a difference. You could have the best play in the world, but if you don't have those other pieces, then it's not going to matter.
Here's the thing, too. Obviously, when you have a good shooting team, you have a good zone offense team. Everything feels so much better as a coach when the ball's going through the net. It's just crazy. But this is just a start here. So this, again, is same girl calling Corcoran. You got to having a person that can hit a shot from this top of the key spot is huge. Turn out and shoot. Yeah, we'll take that. This one I love because here's what's going to happen. We talk about small windows. This is a 2-3 that Danvers is playing there in white. This girl right here, number 12, she's actually in the wrong spot here. And this girl, Sydney Brennan, just got a shout out to her. She's one of the most underrated players I've ever coached. So smart, great leader. But anyway, Michaela, number 12 here, should be drifting down. But watch, Sydney actually leads her to the right spot. This is like a next level play to me. A player, look, she's in the wrong spot. She's behind the defense. She's not in the window. Here's the window. And Sydney knows that, so she passes the ball here instead. Perfect. Love this too right here. Immediately after, this is why getting to the baseline is so huge against the zone and actually against most defenses. This is why coaches, say, hey, I don't know, baseline, all that, because every defender is looking at the ball and not looking at the girl. Well, they're not guarding anyone here specifically, but they're not looking at the offense. They're looking at the ball. And so great cut right here by Ellen Fantozzi, number 20. And I didn't realize this, honestly, until I started preparing for this interview, Coach. But this girl, Michaela Picaro, has great eyes. She looked over here before she caught that we just talked about. Boom. It's a layup.
That's that anticipation piece that you were talking about. And the team you're playing against, I've played against. And every year I feel like, so they're competitive. They're in the tournament every year. And they always beat a team that's, like at the top of the conference, undefeated, 1 loss, 2 losses. They always upset someone. And a big part of that is what they do on defense. Their zone defense are usually pretty good or pretty tough to play against. So this is actually a pretty decent defensive team, and you guys are doing a nice job.
Yeah, it's 100% correct. They actually, a couple of years ago, we had a great team, and they came very close to beating us. I wrote down on my notes too, zone offense-wise, there isn't a human being. I mean, there might be. There's no human being, I think, in high school who's faster than the ball. All right, so the ball can beat anyone. As long as it moves smartly, you can beat anyone. So the ball moves great here. But number 11, who's right where the cursor is, she just sits here and is watching for the rest of the thing. She needs to rotate, because what happens here, again, we get to the baseline. These girls are watching. And this girl, Sydney Brennan, who I mentioned earlier, she's one of the best shooters in the North Shore. She's just going to nail this shot. Because there's no rotation from the defense. Even in zone defense, you got to rotate.
Really seeing the unselfish play too, the extra pass, and just finding the open player. It's like if they're open, you guys are finding them. So that's a great pass and right out of the baseline.
And again, watch her eyes. It's the same girl I said earlier. As the ball comes into her hands, boom, immediately up. Because she knows she's not scoring from there. It's a great play. And like, you're right. I mean, this one of the best parts about this team is they're so unselfish. One thing I should mention, this is an obvious to most coaches, one of the best parts or one of the best things that can beat a zone is transition offense, beating the zone down court. So that's all that this is right here. We just beat it. Great pass, great secondary pass. Again, hit another three. Everything feels better when you're hitting shots. The one thing I think that beats almost all zones, especially this is a 2-3, but especially the 3-2 or the 1-3-1 is the wing to corner pass. And I said that the 4 needs to be sneaky, but she's not the 4 right here. But the girl going baseline needs to be sneaky. And look how sneaky she is right here. She's sneaking behind the defense. Great pass. It's a little baby jumper right there. Different clip here. This is one thing, as I said, using your eyes. This one, I think this ball should get stolen to me because number 22 here should be looking right here if she's going to make this pass to 21, which is where she inevitably makes the pass. Use your eyes. 34 should be sneaking down here against his zone defense. This is a situation where I won't say we get lucky, but we use our athleticism to beat this team, whereas we really should have had like a stale possession. Jackson, however, number 21 right here, she does a great thing. She catches this ball. This is the thing we teach against zone. If you catch a long pass, you can't hold it. You got to be up faking and driving, immediately driving, move it. I love the long pass to the move it back to where it just came from, because this girl's going to turn and run that way. Make her run around like a rabbit or like a horse chasing a carrot, But watch Jackson. She just makes a really good slice through the defense. You have to be willing to do this as a guard to beat zone. Slice right through. This is good. Transition to control. We understand that we're not beating it, right? And actually get right in it. This clip in particular, one of the better parts about this, again, I would backtrack here and picking on 34 here a little bit, but this girl, she's technically playing the 4. You mentioned matchup. She's our tallest girl on this team. Some coaches want to expose a matchup. We have her down there because we can get her to post that other girl. We can get easy lobs for easy baskets. We do that a lot. We actually currently have a girl who's 6'2" on our team. We put her low. We can get a lob in there, not just for a score, but to get the whole defense, like I showed you, to look at her. And then we kick out for a wide open shot. So she should be shuffling the baseline, not running the baseline, shuffling with her back to the baseline so she can sit down right in this zone. But anyway, the biggest thing, one thing I will say that we teach hard at Bishop Fenwick is shooting in rhythm. I think rhythm shots, obviously, I don't want to say always go in, just a much higher percentage of going in than a non-rhythm shot. I think we all know that. 2 things here. Jackson, number 21, just looks to the right, dribbles right, looks right, and the whole defense goes that way. Number 3 gets a wide open shot from it. Boom. Dribble right, fake, rhythm shot. It's not, I just don't think it's rocket science, I guess, It kills me actually in practice. I'm sure it did you too back in the day when you teach something like this and girls just ball fake to the right and pass to the left, this girl will be wide open, and it can't get done. And you're like, well, I don't understand. But, that was, there's one more really good one. And I'm going to show you this one right here. Everything about this is great. Number 22 here, dribbles right, passes left, wide open. But they're actually playing a great defense here. This girl runs out. Look at this up fake. Boom. Girl jumps. She didn't even actually fake. She just pulled it to her chin. Jumps. Defense disjointed. Drive. Dish. Nothing there. Good defense. They're getting back at it. She does it again. Goes back the other way. Ball fake. Now the ball's moving. As I said earlier, nobody can move faster than the ball. Watch this. Boom. 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 And that's actually a tough shot. They're playing good defense. They can test that shot. The small thing I would say about this is, we try to this is hard, but put girls in position to make a good play. Olivia right here, number 4, is a lefty. So she can make this pass from this angle easier than if she were over on this side. So I don't think at this moment we taught her to do that, but we probably always do suggest, Olivia, if you're on, we'd rather have you on that side because you're a lefty. You know, when we're playing man defense, we say, Olivia, be on this side so you can drive to the left easier. I think sometimes, a lot of times for this girl right here who's a lefty, we would harp on the fact that, hey, you got to work on your right hand. You got to work on this. You got to work on that. When in reality, how about we put her in more positions to succeed with her left hand? And that's happening here too. But just great ball movement after a few fakes. I love this play. Another small thing, 21 makes a bounce pass here. If she makes a chest pass, it gets deflected. Instead, she makes a bounce pass. So I just think, my biggest things against the zone, be in windows if you're a receiver, and the windows are always moving. The fakes are huge. We really harp on fakes. I have found that faking is one of the hardest things to drill. We try to make it incentive-based, like if we'll do 5-on-5, zone offense against zone defense, and my assistant will give points for fakes. We'll have the scoreboard up there, and a good fake gets another point. And after every possession, we tell them what happened, why they got a point. Again, that's having really good assistants too, to do that stuff for you at practice. Things are a lot harder when you're alone at practice, as I'm sure you have been in the past. But I think that's a way to, because I've done like every other coach, looked on the internet or wherever for, how do I drill faking? How do I get these girls to fake better? And you just got to harp on it. You got to work on it. It gets so old. It's like teaching, and I'm sure you've been there. You repeat yourself so many times, but you got to find different ways to get it in their head that this is what's going to work. And again, obviously teams are playing zone against you, so you will shoot. So hitting rhythm shots, knowing when to shoot is huge. And one thing I didn't mention is that 4 and 5, the girl baseline especially, I think that's a huge role. That girl or the player who's baseline, or whatever you do against the zone, you're always going to have that person who's low. Against a 3-2 or a 1-3-1, you might have 2 players who are on the corners. Their sneakiness, to me, their ability to pass is huge, and their ability to offensive rebound is huge. Because you're going to get a lot of shot. You can get an open shot whenever you want against the zone. But you need people getting that offensive rebound, putting it back in, get an offensive rebound, kick it back out, get another shot up. You can't have one-shot possessions against the zone. You're just done if that happens. So I think that baseline player is big. We have experimented with a lot of different players down there throughout the years, because that girl I showed you, Michaela, number 12 on our state championship team, she was great. It's hard to get a person like that who understands their role too. Hey, your role is to be a really good passer. It's to be an offensive rebounder, but you're also going to get 6 to 8 points a game just getting offensive rebounds and putting them back in. So I think all those things matter. And like you said, having an unselfish team, I always love to pass. I honestly think that I coach boys and girls because I coach baseball at Bishop Fenwick as well. I think that girls are a little bit easier to get to be unselfish. They enjoy each other's success. That's what I like about it. So that's kind of a nice part about coaching girls, but you gotta want to be a good passer to beat a zone, or you gotta enjoy it. I don't know why you wouldn't. Making like 5 or 6 good passes for a layup is one of the best parts about the game of basketball to me. So that's what I got against the zone. I think we also do, when we're struggling sometimes, as I said, changing the personnel helps, but we also have done man-to-man offenses against the zone. You mentioned we've done pick and roll against a 3-2. I think as long as you're screening the outside, so you're creating a matchup situation that's problematic for the defense, then if you're playing a zone offense, you're passing and cutting very, very strategically. And again, that's hard because I think the skills are so important against a zone. They're probably a little bit more important, pivot feet, passing with both hands, than they are against man. Because I think you can beat a man-to-man by just having your better athletes drive by other people, with their strong hand, as long as that other team isn't really focusing on stopping your strong hand, which could be another subject for a different day.
Coach, I love how just looking at the tips you gave for zone offense and, using ball fakes and, those corner players kind of sliding in behind the zone and being sneaky, and how important the ball movement is, and knowing the decision as the ball's coming to you, ahead of time and making that next decision. But I love all of it. And I really love the sitting in the open window, because I think that's such an easy coaching point, but I don't know that every coach makes that point, that you're going to sit in between these two players. It sounds really simple, but I think a lot of coaches are going to think about that, especially youth, high school coaches. We get to the college level, maybe, but the players know that at that point if they're playing at that level. But really thinking about high school coaches, and if you can settle in the zone and find those open gaps, a lot can be said about that, and you're going to do pretty well. And then obviously the shooting piece, we know when you have great shooters, you tend to have better teams. So
yeah, of course. It's hard. The hardest thing to me about zone offense is drilling it, I guess. I think zone offense, I was just thinking as you're talking, probably requires a lot of film, a little bit of film watch before practice, maybe, 5 minutes. Show the person where they can sit down in that zone, or where the openings in the zone are. Sometimes small changes against the zone are the best thing. And it could be pulling this player out and putting somebody else in, just a substitution or two. But, teach fundamentals against the zone and change some things in the course of a game.
I just want to thank you for taking time to talk to us tonight. There's so many good points that you made along the way. I just want to thank you for being part of this tonight.
Thank you for having me. I love it. And throughout the last few months, I was looking forward to it. Fuels me. Haven't had a chance to coach or talk about coaching at all.
I know it's been great. It's been great being able to talk to so many great coaches, and obviously having you on tonight. So thank you again, and I look forward to doing this down the road.
Definitely. Thank you very much.